the real wargamer, at the wargaming table with Rebel Yell. Well, again, there are 7 modules to this rules, the first edition rules. 7, whatever, programmed instruction, programmed format, I guess. And I'm on module 2. Now I'm starting to just say, this is a great game. This is a great game. It's a great game. Like the Death Ride series, it is not... Actually, I should say like the Death Ride series and like TCS. This has a bit of a brain burner quality to it, but that's good. Okay, I want to mention something just because it's relevant. For the first time really in action here. So we are starting turn 4 with the first segment that we use for module 2 rules, and that's segment B, player 1, small arms fire. So that's, again, that's for this scenario, it's the Union side. Union side's player 1, and this is their small arms fire. So these advanced fire markers that are placed on these 2 stacks, and by the way, I don't know if you can see that, but I was noticing recently, just when I was looking over the board, yeah, clearly this game gets some serious stacks, but I'm not sure that bothers me. Well, that certainly doesn't bother me as much as it used to. Okay, so the advanced fire markers, this is where it's relevant, this rule. Although I still want to see what it really means, but units with advanced fire markers on them may not fire in the next friendly small arms segment after the segment in which the markers are placed, etc., 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 and then gives an example. What that means is during the previous action segment, which is P2, player 2 action segment, which was in the previous game turn, that's the Confederates. So when the Confederates were acting during their action segment, these Union stacks conducted advanced fire. They're marked with advanced fire markers. Now we come around to the Union small arms fire segment, and these will not come off until the end of the segment, and they may not fire during this. So yeah, so even though it's a Union small arms fire segment, they don't get to actually fire in this segment because they have advanced fire markers on them. Okay. Again, that's how that's done. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I assume it's related to the apportionment of activity in the game turn structure as it relates to the designer's concept of real time, but I'm just going through the rules right now to get a feel for how it actually works. By luck, I remembered that there's a whole nother Union regiment here, 4-1 regiment. They do come on at the end of this, not at the end, because there's don't have a game turn end per se. Well, you don't have a reinforcement phase, but by the scenario instruction it comes on, which, by the way, this is a typo. I'm assuming it's a typo. The scenario says it comes on in segment N of this turn, but segment N is a Confederate action segment, so that doesn't make sense. I don't know how these guys could come on during a Confederate action segment. So the segment immediate prior is a Union action segment. That's segment N, or M. You see there, I did it again. I guess it's easy to mix N and M. So I assume it's M. So I'm going to have them come on in segment M of this turn, which is towards the very end. And that is a Union action segment. Okay, so yeah, so is there any more Union small? See, I'm assuming these guys can't see each other through the woods. Assuming that. So I guess there isn't any. Yeah, I guess not. So we'll go on to the next one that applies to us, and that's P. Okay. Oh, now these ones. So it's a P2 action segment. So that's the Confederate action segment. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, that was a small arms fire, not. Oh, so that's interesting. Oh. Okay, so it's. So with respect to action segment, I wish I could show this, but it's underneath my plastic here. P2, basically the turn ends with player 2 having an action segment, and that's the Confederates here. And then the first action segment, not the first segment, but the first action segment of the following turn is also player 2. So I guess another way to look at it is in the turn structure, in the first half of the turn, you go player 2 followed immediately by player 1 action segments, and then in the middle of the second half of the turn, you have player 1 action segment followed immediately by player 2 action segment. Yeah, but that means that each player, yeah, basically they're not alternating. No, they're definitely not alternating. Player 2, player 1, player 2. Yeah, they're not alternating. That's interesting. Okay, so player 2 action. Let's see what the Confederate should be doing. All right, let's get. I moved this line up so that these two regiments are on line, ready to move through the woods and make contact later. But here, I think it's time, to not. We're not going to delay. See, because most of the Confederate line here is in good order. Only the far left is disrupted, but the entire Union regiment is disrupted. So we're going to go in for the assault. I guess I'll quickly take a look at. See, they're in the clear too. The clear, and these guys are going to assault right here. They're on the same level. Is at level 4. So it's going to be 1-1 with the flag is going to go in and conduct assault here. So let's go over all of assault. First of all, disrupted and routed units may not initiate an assault. Obviously, that is one reason to not allow yourself to be disrupted when the enemy is adjacent. Okay. Remember the option. The option I was trying to figure out what to deal with the option of taking an O-hit or trying to take an O-hit instead of disrupting. Okay. Disrupted units may defend in an assault with a -3 fire line modification. That's important. So let's go to assault general rules. Assault is similar to fire combat, except that assaulting units may fire one or more rounds at defending units. The assaulting units may also incur losses due to enemy return fire. The assaulting and defending units must be in adjacent hexes. Okay, we're obviously adjacent. The units in different hexes may assault the same hex in a particular segment, but never as a combined strength. They must assault separately. So this is relevant here because I want both of these guys to assault here, but they can't do that. They will do it. They must assault separately. So therefore, I'm going to start with the larger force and the battle flag, the regimental flag. Okay. Units of the same regiment that are stacked together must combine their strength when assault. So basically, these guys all together are assaulting. Units from the same hex, they cannot assault separately from the same hex. Units stacked together need not assault the same hex, but they are here. They're assaulting this one again. An assaulting unit is considered to be the top unit for pre-assault fire purposes. One unit in a stack that is assaulting. Oh, and in no way forces unit stacked with it to also assault. But again, I'm going all in with this stack here for now to start. A unit may only assault 1 hex per segment. A hex may be assaulted more than once per segment. During an assault, all units, both attacking and defending, have a fire factor of 4. That's important, and it's summarized on the combat card. Assault factor, small arms equals 4. Okay. Units assaulted in their flanks. They're not being assaulted in their flanks. Units disrupted as a result of pre-assault fire must continue with assault combat. Units initiating assault from a marsh or creek hex are disrupted before pre-assault fire is calculated. These guys are assaulting from a woods hex. Yep. But not a marsh or creek. Okay, so pre-assault fire. So pre-assault fire. Before the assault begins, the defending units may attempt pre-assault fire. This fire occurs as any other fire referred to. Okay, general fire procedure. Units making pre-assault fire do receive the +1 advanced fire line modifier. Well, that's a good. Because even though they're adjacent, okay. That's good to know. So, in other words, right off the bat, we know we have a +1 for the Union there. That's for the +1 advanced fire line modifier. Disrupted units may attempt pre-assault fire. Okay, that's here. Disrupted units may attempt pre-assault fire. Routed units may not. So these guys are disrupted and they still get pre-assault fire. A unit may only pre-assault fire through its frontal hexes. That's what they're doing there. A unit may pre-assault fire as many times as it is eligible. Okay, pre-assault fire does not count. Okay, does not count as advanced fire. Make sure that advanced fire markers are placed on units that have... Oh, I'm sorry, it does count as advanced fire. Make sure that advanced fire markers are placed on units that have executed pre-assault fire. Okay. Okay, so that is going on afterwards. Units that had advanced fire do suffer the mind. Okay, that's not here. So I guess we do that fire first. Then we'll go to the assault procedure. So let's see what the resolution here is. Okay, so pre-assault fire, I assume does not use the standard. Nah, it must not, because it's pre-assault fire. So it uses the standard fire. So I went through all the standards. So it's a fire factor. Fire factor of 8. Net -2. So I go from the 8-9 line down to the 5 line, and the Union rolled a wonderful 0, best you can get, resulting in a hit of 1-0 hit. And now, as well, I guess they still have to roll for disorganization. Okay, they get it. Yeah, they get it. So they just have the 1. Okay, they wouldn't have the 1 strength hit. Okay, so that is pre-assault fire. They still have there. I guess that's gonna go on there now. That's pre-assault fire. Okay, now we go to assault procedure. An assault is conducted in 1 or more rounds. Both attacker and defender fire during assault. All fires considered simultaneous. Use the fire procedure outlined above in the line modifiers under the assault only heading. Yeah, so there is there's an assault only list of modifiers there, as opposed to the fire only. It reminds me of a number of good games. Okay, both players roll a die, refer to the CRT. A unit may assault a maximum of 3 rounds. So I guess I'll use my little round counter. And then we'll see a unit designated to assault must assault all 3 rounds unless it or the defending unit routs. So I guess we'll just go through. No unit may retreat from an assault. It is possible for both the attacker and defender to rout. Okay, so we'll see what happens here. Remember, both sides are going to have a fire factor or, assault factor of 4. So I pulled these guys aside. They only lasted 1 round. The Union caused nothing against the Confederates. I think the Union rolled an 8 against the Confederates, but the Confederates rolled a 1 against the Union, caused a loss of 1, and then the Union failed their disorganization check. They were already disrupted, so they rout. So I'll flip that over to rout. Okay, so routing from assault. Any unit that routes from the assault loses an additional O hit. O hits lost during. Okay. So does that mean each unit? Any unit that routes from the assault. Any unit. Huh. So we're saying that goes to a 2, and this one has a 1, I guess. That's pretty devastating. Back 3 hexes, and then we'll talk about advance, because there is advance. Routed units don't have facing, if I remember correctly. So 1, 2, 3. Guess they still have that. Not that that matters. Wait, does that matter? Well, let's see if it matters, I guess. And then, okay, advance, because we have all of our Confederates are in fine condition. So a hex that's been vacated by defending units, either through losses or by routing, must be advanced into by all assaulting units. Okay, attacking units are automatically disrupted. That makes sense. At the conclusion of the assault, attacking units that had been previously disrupted suffer no additional effect. So that makes sense. Okay, the Confederates will be disrupted. Oh, okay, that's it. Okay. Okay, outcome here. Here's where the Union was. They went back 3. And here's where the Confederates were, but they advance into the hex there. All right. Not bad. So that was an assault. Not sure what to say about that, but